Welcome back to another episode of Ground Up with Natalee. Today, I am so excited because we have one of my dear, dear friends, Jonetta Kaiser, on, and we actually announced some very exciting news. We're launching something for you actors, and this is the first moment that we ever talk about it. It's not on social media yet. There's no links out there yet. So you're going to want to listen to this episode. Also, Jonetta stars in Vampire Academy on Peacock, and she has a new movie out on Tubi. And she walks us through everything, like how she went from a little girl in Louisiana to booking these huge time shows. Did it take a lot of years? Yeah, but she spills the secrets. So stay tuned to this episode. You're not going to want to miss it. You're going to get a ton of nuggets. You might want to just get out a piece of paper and pen now. Thank you again so much for listening. We are produced by Mastermind Media. And if you like this episode, please don't forget to rate it or send it to a friend and hit that follow button on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to us. That is the only way that I can grow as a podcast, is by you hitting that follow button. So I truly appreciate you guys, and let's get into the episode. Okay, Jonetta, thank you so much for coming on Ground Up.
Thank you for having me.
We start every episode with 3 super difficult questions. So, number 1, where are you from?
I am from Hammond, Louisiana, technically, yeah.
Cool.
That's where I was raised, but I was born in Germany.
You were?
Yeah. My dad was in the military.
Oh, okay. Did you move around a lot, or you just born there and then moved straight to Louisiana?
No. We moved around a lot. I think they moved to Texas, and then they moved to Louisiana, and then my whole life I've lived in the entire southeast region. So I've lived in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, not Alabama.
Wow.
Except for Alabama.
That's really cool, though. I've lived in one little bubble, so I feel like you probably learned a lot growing up, but it's also hard because you're not in one place, so you can't make a bunch of friends.
Yeah, exactly. So I had no friends growing up. That's a huge reason why we just moved every year.
You're like, Mom, I made a best friend. She's like, we're moving, honey. Okay, and what was your first dream job?
To be an actress.
It was?
Yeah.
I love that.
It's literally, yeah.
Okay, cool. And what was your first paid job?
Oh, this is so funny. So I got a job working at a Mexican restaurant, and I was so intimidated because everyone spoke Spanish. I quit the job.
How long did you last?
A few days.
A few days? Oh my God, so funny.
No, I went in, I trained, and then I was like,
I can't speak to anyone.
I don't know how to talk to them. And then and I quit and went and worked at Claire's.
Nice. Oh my God. Were you 16 when you got your first job? Yeah. Uh-huh. I was a hostess at a Mexican restaurant as well. Mm-hmm. And another fun fact, I don't know if this should be shared or not, but whatever, we're all human. I stole from Claire's when I was little, and I got caught. And I wasn't little 7 years old. I was little 12. Oh. And the cops came and everything. Yeah.
They're really strict about stealing.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember the manager would be like, watch them.
Yeah.
Make sure you watch them.
Yeah, there was mirrors at the top, right?
Watching people.
What an idiot I was. Me and my girlfriend, Jenna. Sorry, Jenna, I'm shouting you out. But both of her and I, we stole from Claire's. And guess what? I'll tell you right now, never stole again in my entire life. Not even a stick of gum.
I stole something once. I stole chalk, actually, from my school teacher.
Oh,
and then I didn't get, they didn't catch me, but I felt so bad. I was like, I'm so sorry. I stole the chalk. I gave it back to them. I was like, I'm sorry.
You have a sweet soul. You're like,
such a freak.
She's like, I didn't even know it was missing. Okay, so I want to go back to childhood a little bit. What were you like as a kid? So you knew you wanted to be an actor. I was the same at 6 years old. I don't know. I think I need a right stream of conscious of because people always ask me, and I'm like, I knew when I was 6, but I don't know why necessarily. Do you know what was the first thing that inspired you that you wanted to become an actor?
I read a lot of books. So I've read every single Nancy Drew book. And because I I was super shy. So I just wasn't good at going out and making friends. And that was just reading these books and going into the world of these characters that I'm reading. It was do you know when you book a new job and then you get the script and you're getting ready to do the work, you get this like tingly feeling. Do you get that? So like that's literally what it would be when I would read a book. I just like felt so like into it.
Yeah.
And then I realized maybe when I turned, I remember it was like the movie Salt, Angelina Jolie, that like I saw that and I got that feeling again, like just like, oh my God, it's such a good character. Like and then that's when I realized like, oh my God, wait, I can actually do this. Like make it a career.
As a job.
Yeah, like as a job and make money doing it. Yeah.
So you're super young. And then when you told your mom, was she like, okay, yeah, honey, I'll drive you to auditions?
Yeah, my mom.
Oh, really?
Oh my God, no, my mom was like always like, you need to be an actress. Like,
Oh, wow.
like telling me as well. So we would do those like scam things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did
we like
those.
drove and like would go to like Baton Rouge and New Orleans where they would do these huge
hubs of where
casting things. And I like got into like one of them. They're like, you have to come to the Gaylord Hotel in Florida and pay us $3,000 and we'll make you famous. And I'm like crying because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
So like all of those things like all the time.
Yeah.
Is what we would do. And then I did moving on from that, like I would self-submit myself. Like I would just like weird kid on Google Googling like casting directors of XYZ, like da-da-da. And like I'm sending them snail mail of like my headshot that my sister took in the backyard. And just sending them my resume where I'm like, little child, Jesus, crucifixion, theater, play, and church. Like sort of thing. And just sending them these things. Yeah, I mean, no one ever got back to me. Actually,
and guys, snail mail, by the way, if you don't know what that means, it means like tangible, not digital, tangible mail in manila folders that we would print out headshots, really embarrassing headshots. Jonetta, you saw mine the other day. They were bad.
The hat.
And you would put it in an envelope with, I mean, did you burn a CD of your reel or?
No, I didn't have anything.
Okay, so
I
you're
was
just
literally like 12.
shot in the dark. Yeah, I'm gonna send this. So anyways, keep going. So you sent that off. You didn't get any responses but one.
There was one, and I wanted to cry. I should have done the Mila Kunis thing and lied about my age.
Yeah.
But they called me back. They're like, "Hi, we want you to audition." I remember submitting for it. It was for a Mark Wahlberg movie called like, was it Contraband or something? Is that a movie?
I think that is.
So it was like for a character in that, and they were like, but we had to ask, are you 18? Are you at least 18? You can't audition if not. And I'm like, no, I'm not 18. Casting office called my landline in my grandma's house. Is like, hi, we would like you to audition, but you're not 18, so we can't.
Heartbreaking.
I wanted to die. I thought it was over. I was
that
like,
was the first no.
I'll never get this opportunity again.
That was it. That was the shining
That was my
star.
one shot.
But that was the first no on what is about to be this journey.
And I was like 12 or 13.
Wow. 12 or 13. And just to think, by the way, like, let's just put this into perspective. At 13, you're dabbling, you get your first quote unquote no. And then 10 years later, because I know you moved to LA at around 23, you moved to LA. And then freaking 3 years after that, which would be 13 years after your first no, you book your first series regular role.
Yeah. Wow. I've never thought of.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 13 years. I
Yeah.
didn't even realize.
If you think about it, planting the seed wise,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And we always talk about this. We've kind of had similar trajectories of just kind of being those kids that like knew we wanted to do this thing and not having, like my mom did the same thing. She took me to the scams as well, but
Took me to the scams.
but she wasn't savvy. Like she's not a theater, what's it called? A
Stage mom. Yeah, my mom either.
Yeah, so it's like she didn't really have the wherewithal to be like, oh, I need to move to LA and like reach out to agents and managers and
My mom is so delusional. She's like, you know how like delusional actors can be?
Yeah.
She's the same way. And she's like, she look at the other kids and be like, you got this. I'm like, Mom, I can't even talk in front of these people without being like,
so nerve-wracking. But isn't it funny that we had that blind confidence of even pursuing this career because our moms, like my mom would be like, you're the cutest thing walking. And I'm like,
Yeah.
And looking back, I'm like, I was so not cute. And I thought that I was the cutest thing because my mom was always like, oh, honey, you got this. One of the questions I get most often is, how do I move from my hometown? I don't have any money. What am I going to do as a day job or a night job to pursue this thing? I mean, now the opportunities, I feel like, are so much more abundant than they were back then. But
I mean, honestly, it wasn't a possibility for me because I was like, there's no way I can afford living in California. And so I didn't. I was like, okay, well, I have to go to college. So I went into biochemistry and got into like my junior year. And that's
college.
When I, of college.
Oh,
and
wow.
then I realized I was like, oh my God, I hate my life. And like, oh my God, my sister, I worked at like one of the most popular spots in our hometown in Hammond, Louisiana, a little Mexican restaurant. And then
so you went back to the Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, I went back to it and I like worked my way up from hostess to bar manager, head bartender.
Oh my God.
Worked there for like 5 or 6 years. And, you know, that was like the moneymaker for me. So I have my own apartment. I just got a car and I'm going to work every day. And I'm like, I literally hate my life. Like, I'm so depressed. And I just had to like take a step back. It was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I so unhappy? I'm making good grades. This is going to be like a good career for me. And it was because I wasn't doing what I loved. So I was like, what do you love? And I just had to go back to the basics, back to who I was as a kid, as to like what gave me joy when I was a kid. And I was like, wait, I've always wanted to be an actress. Like, this is why I'm not happy, because I'm not doing, you know, that thing of like, if you never try, you'll regret it sort of thing. So that's what I felt. And yeah, so I literally
pretty
woke
much like,
up.
I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, I literally woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to move to California.
Wow.
But I didn't know how I was going to do it. I just did it. Looking back, I would probably tell someone that is like trying to make the move to maybe develop a skill. And I did. I like knew how to code. I knew how to bartend. These are skills that even to this day, I code people's websites on the side, you know, like this is side income that you have to have. You have to have something to fall back on, because you can't be so delusional to the point to be like, I'm gonna be in and then like
people are like, no, I don't want a backup plan. It's like, guys, this isn't a backup plan. This is literally, first of all, your sanity, because you're not on set 365 days a year.
No.
You even if you make great money, you want to have a purpose. You want to have something. You want to be good at something. I know you light up when you tell people like, fuck yeah, I'm a coder.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
So it's also like a hobby for me, where it's something like, oh yeah, like I can do that for you. Like, let me do it. Also, I'm gonna charge you. But like, you know, it's just something that I like to do. And you have to have those things being out here, or your life will only be acting, and you'll be that one person that no one likes to talk to or hang out with.
Yeah. And you don't know how to have a conversation because you're desperate for it at that point, right? Because if you're not booking, which is likely that you're not booking, you're going to be like, what am I doing with my life? And those are the times to really get quiet with yourself too, because, you know, maybe the coding, I don't know how that fell into your lap, but
MySpace.
Okay, there you go. You're like, yeah, I find interest in this. And so if someone's listening to this and they kind of feel like they don't know what that thing would be, I had that for a very long time, all in the beginning of me pursuing a career in acting, because I didn't come up with magic until I was 23. So from 18 to 23, I was working at a restaurant, only had no other side hobbies.
Yeah.
And I finally booked my show at 23. I'm on set and I felt a little empty. And I was like, not on set. When I was on set, I was fine, but I was in Canada and I was off for 3 weeks at a time, you know, doing nothing.
What do you do?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, it's time to find that purpose, girl.
Yeah.
What do we got? And that's what led to magic. So if you don't know what that is, what I did was I just slowed down and I read some books and I figured out some things that piqued my interest. And eventually, you know, the universe whispers an idea in your ear, and you know, now you have your side hobby or your backup plan, whatever you want to call it. It's just adding to to who you are.
Yeah. And also like casting directors, producers, directors, they love these things about you. Like that's what makes you, what makes you unique, and sometimes the character. So like if you have these skills and hobbies and things, like no one else has that.
Nope.
No one has that essence and that quirkiness, and you know, so these things are important to develop for sure.
That's so good to point out. It is not a detriment. It is it is for you. Sometimes this is rare, but sometimes have you ever had to like talk 60 seconds about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not in a commercial one though. In like a theatrical one.
And yes, yeah.
I had a strong pin, whatever that means. Strong pin.
We feel very strongly. We might not give her the job.
Yeah. But for a Marvel show.
Nice.
And she asked me to, it was the one audition where I had to, say like, okay, you do the scene, send that tape in, and then along with it, a 60-second video of something about yourself. And you guys, I was so excited to talk about magic. I own a mental health and wellness company where I sell journals that help people, And so that's where it comes in handy as well.
When I think at this point I'd already tested for Vampire Academy, but they wanted a like bio from me. They wanted me to type out like who I am.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And I think when I sent that in, they were like, oh yeah, she's definitely everything the character, because we've talked about how similar I am to that character. And it was like, those were the things like when I sent in, I love to read books and I didn't know they were going to make her a librarian, like those sort of things. So like,
be honest with yourself too. Bring your special sauce to the character. You never know. The more you hide that and try to be what they want you to be, the longer it's going to take to book something.
Yeah.
The sooner that you're confident in your ability to be who you are and bring who you are to every single character, unless you are Jim Carrey and you're a method actor, which I think is, what's the percentage of that? 1%?
Yeah.
Like, come on. You are playing yourself in a given circumstance with a given backstory. Okay, so you make the move to LA because you wake up and you're like, I'm not fulfilled. I physically cannot do this anymore. You've probably saved up a couple grand.
No, I probably
a couple cents.
So this is like kind of a long story, but I'll try to sum it up. Basically, I was at the Mexican restaurant. I put in my 2 weeks notice. I got fired in that 2 weeks notice period because I came to work. It was a like morning shift. This is like a fancy Taco Bell, right? Like you go, you sit down, you have margaritas and eat a taco. Like you go. So I'm working a morning shift. No one has their makeup done. I get yelled at for not having my makeup done. The manager, no hard feelings to her now. She was going through a hard time, I think. But like I became like that person that day for her. And she was like, go home, go do your makeup. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, your hair is wet. Like, your hair is wet. Your makeup isn't done. I'm not going home to do my makeup. And yeah, so she's like, well, don't come, like, if you're not going to do it, then like, don't come to work tomorrow. And I was like, okay, I won't. Like, I quit then.
Yeah.
The owner of the restaurant was like so apologetic. Like, I'm so
probably
sorry.
Because you could have sued them.
Probably. But he gave me like what I would have made in that 2 weeks. And so I had maybe like, I mean, you don't make anything in the South. So I probably had like $700.
Okay.
And I came here with that. And I moved in to Oceanside. My uncle lives on the base down there in Camp Pendleton. And lived there for 6 months. And then I would commute like 5-7 days. I mean, that is San Diego to LA, basically.
Yep. 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
5 to 7 times a week. I cried on the freeway. There are many times. I remember one time that I like was able to turn off my car and like take a nap because traffic was just not moving. Like this is.
And your eyes are probably closing.
Oh my God.
Know, yeah.
There's so many times I would have to be like, like listening to like screamo music in the car just to stay awake.
Window down. Yeah.
But also in this time I took advantage and maximized, like made the most of that time by like listening to podcasts, like people talking about acting, actors talking to other actors, like really like learned a lot just sitting in the car, going to LA to like go to a commercial audition for 15 minutes and then drive 3 hours back home because I can't afford to hang out in LA yet.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's what I did. I did the commute. I had a job in Brentwood at the Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf. And so I'd work like 4 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and then I would like have auditions or whatever. And then I would go back to Oceanside until I eventually got a second job working at Coffee Bean and then working at an Italian restaurant in Santa Monica that's closed now, I think. And I was bartending there. So I was like working from 4 a.m. to 9 a.m. and then I would go open the restaurant at like 11. So I had like a little bit of time. I would just sleep in my car, go park in the parking garage, sleep for a little bit, go into work. And then
And in between this, you're going to auditions.
yeah.
Like, this is not, you guys, this is not a joke. This is serious. Like, I'm sure you had to call the restaurant and be like, flat tire, because you had an audition at like 11:15 and you couldn't. Yep.
Literally, that's what would happen. Because then when I finally moved out here, I was homeless when I first moved out here, but that's what pushed me to finally come. So when I first moved out here in January 2018, February 2018, I had full representation. So I had commercial, modeling, agent, theatrical agent, and theatrical manager as well.
And this is because when you lived in San Diego, you're pursuing. Yeah, you're
I'm
emailing people.
Everyone. I'm emailing. I'm like, I am so good. You need me. This is why.
Yeah.
And I like have nothing.
And you have
no footage.
No footage.
But I'm in acting class.
Yes. So you never worked yet. You're just like, I need to get a team. I mean, I feel like that's number one. You need to, you need a headshot and you need a computer to write an email. Yeah. And you need some self-worth, right? To be like, hey, I can do this. This is me. And okay, so that's why you got signed after a month of living here. Yeah. Things are kind of falling together.
Well, because I moved out here with a headshot. I did that work before, in that 2 weeks where I was like unemployed, I did get my headshots done and like whatever. And then, so I moved out here with the materials that I needed to just like start emailing people. And the agency that ended up signing me, they just had me do like cold read, like commercial thing. And then they signed me for commercial and theatrical. So then 6 months later, I'm in LA and I'm still like doing the in-person audition thing, which is like slowly transitioning. Everything is going to tapes anyways. So I'm getting kind of like a little bit of both, but tapes is like kind of more of what I know. Like going in the room, I never really got that good at.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, I mean, unless you consider commercials still going in the room, like I'm okay with commercials, but this is just a different type of auditioning entirely, right? So yeah. And then I book my first year a little Snapchat show, non-union Snapchat show called Two Sides.
Okay.
And that's kind of what got the ball really rolling for me. Two Sides is actually where my current agent, our agent, found me from.
Oh, that's right. God, she's so good. Yeah. She saw you from a mile away. She's like, I need this girl. She plucked you.
Yeah.
When you were in high school, so now we're like 15 to 23, you haven't moved to California yet. You kind of stopped pursuing a little bit, right? Because you were like, okay, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, because that was the way to like logically make money, and then maybe I could circle back to it one day. But I did my senior year. I graduated high school, and then I did a year of background work. Oh. In like driving to Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and like there's so much filming there at the time because of the tax breaks or whatever. So yeah, I mean, that's what I did. That's how I made money that year.
So you were familiar with sets when you got to one.
Yeah, because in my mind I was like, if I enjoy being on set after doing this, then I'm meant to do this.
That is true, right?
Yeah.
I did background work twice, and it was for music videos. And girl, that's when I was driving up from Orange County for castings, and I would submit myself on LA Casting, and that's how I booked my first little music videos, commercials, stuff like that, non-union, of course. And one of them was, actually I was signed with a modeling agency, and she's like, do you want to do this background work? And I remember my college acting teacher said, never do background work. She told us that. She's just like, just don't do it. Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think in hindsight is good advice, because if someone, like, do it if you want to get familiar with set, or you want to.
Don't see it as an opportunity to like get offered a role.
Exactly.
That's not what I was doing it for.
Exactly. Yeah. You were like, I need money. And it's kind of, I feel like it's a good idea to do in like Louisiana or something like that, because the opportunity to book something substantial isn't as high.
Yeah. Well, having never gone to like an acting class at this point, and then like, when I first moved out here, it was so great for me to know these things already. I knew what your mark was. I knew like lighting setups and how long that can take, and all of these things I knew because I'm like literally sitting around on set. There's no air conditioning. I had a very clear idea of what being on set was, and it's not glamorous. Like I didn't think going into this, like, I'm going to be treated like a prince. No. Because also the actors are sitting right there with you sometimes. They're like, oh my God, this is taking forever.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like,
yeah. So you had a healthy perspective on like what it was going to be like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's work.
So when Gwen found you, what'd you do with your other agent? Because people might want to know, like, if they're with an agent that they're not happy with right now.
Right. Well, the manager that I had at the time, I just had a conversation with him and was like, hey, like, I don't know, if this is the agent for me. Because also at this point, I became union by self-submitting myself because my agent, they were submitting me for things, but it just communication wasn't there. Like we weren't the same.
You can feel like it wasn't your people.
It wasn't my person. And she's great. I mean, she's a good agent for some people, but not for me.
It's like dating. Finding reps is like dating,
Yeah.
They're still good people. It just might not be the best fit for you.
And, there was even like from the Snapchat show, there was a check, her 20% that I was like trying to get in touch with her, like schedule like, hi, when can I come bring you your 20%? Didn't get a reply. I'm like, why am I having to chase you to give you your money?
Yeah.
Like, this is so weird for me. So that's when that pushed me to like talk to my manager and was like, hey, I think maybe we should drop her.
Okay.
And like,
so you
just move on.
confided in your manager
Yes.
about what you were going to do with your agent. Smart.
So I dropped her. And I think that was like, if you want to say like the universe's sign of like, okay, she took the initiative. Now I'm going to have someone reach out to her. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. And Gwen emailed me.
Talk about alignment of you just listening to your intuition and being
trusting
like,
yourself.
You were probably like, if I know, what you wanted. You wanted to be the lead on a show. And you felt like this specific relationship wasn't serving that. Yeah. So you made the initiative, and it's hard when you don't have credits, when you're not successful in your own mind at that point. But I had to do the same thing. And it's just like, there's no, people ask like, well, what do I do? How do I gain the confidence to do that? You just do it because
you just do it. Also, like for me, another thing that gave me this sense of confidence and peace is the fact that I pray, So like for some people it's meditating. For some people, for me, it's prayer. So like, and I kid you not, the things that I prayed for, like in an agent, what I would want in a manager and an agent, at my team right now, they check off every single box, every single thing, specific. Very, 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 like, wanted female agents, wanted them to be in love with you and on fire and, like, all of these things.
Specific.
Yeah,
you were
very specific things.
You were specific with God about what you wanted.
Yeah.
I was specific with the universe about exactly what I wanted to. And
Yeah.
it absolutely same has manifested into what it is right now. So you get Gwen, our fiery agent, and then you book the lead.
Well, actually, before that, I fired my manager. I let my manager go. Also, just because like he was great, but there was just some. I was like, he's not quite my person. Even though he was the one that was like, your agent. She's great. We should go meet with her. And I signed with her because he was like, yes, she is fantastic. And it's just that sort of thing. It's just a business. Yeah. So I had to let him go, and he was not happy about it. And
I'm sure he's not happy now either.
Yeah, no, I know. But like it's these things where you kind of see like, oh, these people, it's also just a business for them too. So because they will show you the ugly side.
Oh yeah, and they will drop you.
Oh yeah, they will in a heartbeat if you don't book. So I got the new manager through Gwen, set me up on like some meetings, and then signed with the current management team that I'm with now, and they're fantastic. I love them. And then I booked Vampire Academy.
Wow.
Yeah. I booked my first guest star on TV first. It was like a BET show called Tales.
Oh yeah.
And that was interesting. That was like really cool to be on set and see that, and kind of also be considered the female lead of that
episode.
Yeah. And it kind of just gave me the confidence to like go into my series regular and be like, this makes,
Totally.
Yeah.
The experience breeds confidence. 100%. In order to get that experience, you have to take action. Yeah. And that's all you were doing.
You just have to be comfortable being on set with all of these people around and still be able to do what you know you can do.
Yes.
So
I feel like auditions, though, could be even harder than being on set as far as the acting. But being around a lot of people is its own beast, and having to perform in front of a bunch of people.
Oh my God, my character was such a like emotional like the poor girl, she's just go watch it. You'll see like, what the hell?
In Vampire Academy.
Yeah. And then doing this in front of people where you're like screaming and like, I'm like squeezing people's heads and like giving them power. And it's like, I'm like, I feel like a creep.
An idiot. Yeah. It's crazy the things that we do. But that's why, you know, you get that stuff out in acting class. And you're there for a purpose, and it's what we love to do, play make-believe. And you were auditioning for like how many years before you booked Vampire Academy?
3 years.
3 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I got Vampire Academy, I'd just gone back from Mexico. It was another Snapchat show, which now all of their shows, I believe, are union. So I was in Mexico for 3 months doing a show called Breakwater.
Oh, yeah. I auditioned for that.
Oh, yeah? Oh, my God. It's so good. So I got back from Mexico, and they were going to send me right back to do this pilot. But then, like, something happened. They went with the other girl. And then, like, a week later, I had this director session for Bel Air. And that didn't hear from that, but then I got the test deal for Vampire Academy. And yeah, so
when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, it was just like boom, boom, boom. All of these things are happening at once.
Did you ever get callbacks? Are you a callback girl?
Yeah, that's like, kind of like what, because like once I started testing, because I tested, my first test deal was like with ABC, maybe in 2020. Beginning of 2021, I think. No, maybe 2020. I can't remember. And so like once that happened, I don't know what happens. You go, you get like nothing. You'll maybe book a non-union thing, and then you start getting auditions, and they're like, okay. And then you start getting better auditions. And then you start with those better auditions, you go through a period where you're just getting a lot of really good auditions. Yeah. And then you start getting the callbacks for those really good auditions. And then it just keeps leveling up. And you gain
confidence through that.
And then you're like pinned. I was pinned. There was a period where I would just get pinned all the time. And then like not booking them.
Oh,
and then
it's the worst.
And yeah, and then
it's like supposed to feel good, but at the same time it feels, or it's like testing for a show and not booking it.
Yeah, well, because you never know what's going on either. Like they don't give you any, and bless Gwen, she's the person that goes and is like, hi, is anything going on? Yeah. Like, are you going to send her? Because she's pinned for something else now.
Right, so, exactly, doing agency things. How do you find where does your mental go when you're getting pinned and not booking anything?
I don't know.
Hard.
I just believe that I would always book something. So I just like, okay, well, that wasn't the one. Like that's literally how it's been for me. And there was like one time where I tested for this character that was so cool. Like it would have been such a I don't even know if the show moved forward because I haven't heard anything about it. So it was like, it was just a really cool character with lots of action and, obviously being the lead of the show. That was like the only time that I actually got really attached to something because I worked so hard to like, stand out and, it worked, but I just didn't get offered but then it's like also just wasn't the right thing because I don't think it came out like, right. So that's the thing.
I find that a lot with things that I didn't get. I'm like, oh my God, thank God. Or they did one season or it flopped.
Or the show is just terrible. Like the character, you're like, thank God.
You have to think that. You have to think about that when next time you like get a call back and don't get it or get pinned or test for something. You just truly like the last show I tested for a few months ago, I was also like kind of attached to and getting really excited about. And, I don't let myself get that excited usually about roles because I know, even when you get the call that you booked it, I'm like, but did I? Yeah. Like, are we filming yet? And you just really have to be like, this wasn't meant to be. When I got the call that I didn't book it, I immediately, just started sobbing because it's like a chemical imbalance, I feel like, in your brain, right? Because when you're holding on to that hope, so you test for the show, and every second after that test, because you sign a 7-year deal, like it's serious. A test deal is like
every second. See what you're gonna make. You see what
you're gonna make, where you're flying to.
Yeah, like you have all of these hopes, high hopes.
Yeah, and there's an element where you let it go. You have to train yourself to do that. But then there's also an element, you cannot help it. It's in the back of your mind. When you wake up in the morning, it's like a breakup. Yeah. Like when you wake up after heartbreak, you're like, oh, And you're like thinking about it, like it flashes through your mind all day. So until you get that call, that's what's happening, right?
Yeah.
You're doing things and then it'll come to your mind of like, oh, am I moving to Toronto in a couple weeks?
Exactly.
And so when
it just happened to me.
yeah. So when I got that call, it was just kind of like this, like, I'll never forget. The phone rang, and this has happened not multiple times. This has happened only 2 or 3 times. You don't test every day, So you remember it each time it happens. But my manager's calling me, and I'm like, I'm in the car in Texas, and I look at my boyfriend, and I'm like, he's calling, and he's like, turns the volume down, and I'm like, hello, and he's like, hey, Natalee, and I'm just like. Heart drops, you just know. And he's like, it didn't go our way. But yeah, so that one day, my whole point is just
Do you
like
cry?
Not I get really like, so usually they call me on 3-way, but I don't know what Gwen was doing. I think he wanted to rip the Band-Aid. And he's like, the person they went with is just nothing like you, which is good because that means that, they just went a different direction. And I'm like, okay,
but I can look like I'm
no.
I can look the different direction.
Yeah. And then in the car, I'm like, but I think it's because too, it depends on where you're at in your career, right? For me, I've been so close every single time.
Yeah.
And technically, I've yet to actually do what I want to do. And I am aware that once you hit that, it doesn't mean happiness, right? It's good to have that awareness, but at the same time, I'm like, no, this is a goal that I still want no matter what. And so I think that at the point that I'm in my career right now, I'm working, and it's great, but this kind of thing that I've wanted for so long hasn't happened yet. And so every time now that it's taken, it's like, it's hard, but my whole point to say is that like the next hour I was fine.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, pick myself back up, put my boots on, like, wasn't meant to be. I wonder what is meant to be,
You know what's refreshing for me? I feel like because auditioning for TV is brutal. Like, this is what it looks like. It's like you get high hopes and they get yanked away from you in the same day sometimes. I feel like if you're, at this point in your career, like us, to be working, doing commercials in between is like kind of like a breath of fresh air. Also doing like movies is a breath of fresh. Like, it's like, it just takes your mind away because TV is its own thing. And that's why like agents are always putting you up for TV because it's 6 years of like guarantee pay if you get picked up. Yeah. That sort of thing.
Oh, it's a gold mine.
That's
if you
where
hit
everyone is like, this is where you need to be. But like, that's like the business side of acting, which is so its own. It's a machine. It's a machine, and you have to know it, and you have to be tough to like play the game. Yeah, But I think where a lot of like the creativity of actors comes from, like doing film and like being able to build this character, flesh it out, wrap it up in 3 months, and then
get your
probably never look at it again if you're the type of actor that can't watch your own work. You know, but like you got to play and then throw it away.
Yep. And you got a couple bucks, because obviously we're not talking about like huge films, because in that case that is as good as a TV show. Yeah, that's we're talking about in the meantime, you're doing an indie film, you're doing a short film. If you're not a working actor yet, then you're doing whatever you can get your hands on. Short films, student films, anything that can just keep those creative juices going. And that's why earlier we were talking about like having something on the side that you like to do, because maybe you're not in short films all the time, or you can't be, especially if you're not repped and you're not auditioning. Because one thing that I think keeps us going is auditions. When we get one, we get a little bit of spark, like, ooh, this is fun. We get to read a script, we get to memorize, we get to play that whole game, which is the process, which is so important.
And before the writer's strike, I mean, I think both you and I are solid, like, at least 2 a week, theatrical auditions. So it's like, that's where a lot of your time goes. Yeah. As an actor at this point in your career. Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say someone can do to make money?
Well, figure out how to use AI.
I love that advice. It's true.
Develop an app or something. Yeah. Learn tech.
Seriously. I think that's great advice.
Learn how to code. This is where like all of, you know, everything is headed. So if you don't know it, you're getting left in the
behind.
dust.
Yeah,
Seriously.
And you don't have to, you can still audition and code or learn
work from home. Yeah.
Learn a new skill, something that can keep your mind going and your wallet full in a way, because you guys, woo! Before you start getting consistent money with acting, it's a long trek. And that technically can't really be why you're doing it, because I mean, it's not guaranteed at all.
No, we're not doing this for the money. That's for sure.
Yeah. Would I do it for free? No. Would you?
If I got offered a role in a good project, because all you want to do is work with good people.
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah, I would do it for free.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
I would do that.
But I wouldn't be like, I'm not like going to a black box theater on the weekend and like acting.
Oh my God, no.
You know what I mean? That's just not.
That's not my cup of tea.
Not my cup of tea. Did you ever do theater?
No.
Me either.
Okay, so yes, technically I did. In high school, I did a play, and then I like didn't remember until probably a year ago what happened.
Because you blocked it out?
Well, no, I thought I blocked it out. I thought I was like that traumatized where, you know, sometimes you just black things out. No, I like literally passed out on stage. And I didn't remember until I was on set and I had these lights on me and I was like, oh my God, it's really hot. That's what happened. That's why I can't remember. I passed out on stage and I couldn't finish the play.
Oh my God. So you did do one play. Oh
Yeah.
I love how it triggered it. You're like, why does this moment feel familiar? Oh my God. Okay, everyone. So super exciting announcement actually that we are sharing right here, right now, that no one else knows about yet, is that Jonetta and I are actually creating an entire course, an ebook for actors. And we're teaching you the business side of acting. So we're not teaching you Meisner technique. We're not, maybe in later seasons, but right now, you're like, oh, never. Right now, we're teaching you how to get an agent and a manager, how to write pitch emails. What does it mean to become SAG? How much is it to become SAG? Do I need to incorporate LLCs, headshots, resumes, reels, literally everything? We're taking the guesswork out of the business side of acting. Yeah. So how can you be a successful actor? Like, how do you go from being literally where you are right now to working in TV and film? Yeah. And so what did your first resume
My first, and I'll start from like 2018, not from when I was like a child doing this. 2018 professionally, what I did to add things to my resume, because I had nothing. I had the two theater things that I did, the play at my church and then the play that I passed out. So that was on my resume for theater. And then I had like, I put my background work on my resume for TV and film. I was like, was in this background, like, which is like, some people say, oh, don't have that on there. But like, I just wanted to show that like, I know how to be on set. I know how to behave, you know? Yeah. So, what else did I put? Oh, I put my training. That's what I did.
That's
my training.
Yes.
So what I did in the beginning was just take a bunch of acting classes. And, so I just put all of those on there. I had like 4 at least.
So it's pretty much blank. It had did you have your stats on there? Brown hair, brown eyes. Yeah. So you had your name at the top, brown hair, brown eyes.
My reps.
Your reps.
Manager, agent, here on the left and right side.
And then your 2 plays and your training. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. So great example of someone that's literally never worked that threw things on there. So I also never worked. And so my old resume, and I've never been in a play besides one in 6th grade. I was in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and I played, do you know where this is going?
No.
Oh, I thought I did.
It's funny.
And then I played Veruca Salt's dad.
I don't even know who that is.
Daddy, I want it now. Remember the dad that was like, honey, anything you want, get her a golden egg. No. Have you seen Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
I don't know. I don't remember it.
I know what we're doing later. But anyways, I played her dad. I don't even remember his name. And I auditioned for Veruca, of course, but I did not get her. So that was the only thing I've ever done theater-wise. So my resume was completely empty as well. It had my stats. I wasn't repped, so it just had my name at the top. and then it said Charlie and the Chocolate Factory play. I made up another play. And then in college, I went to community college for a year, and we did scenes with other classes. And so I wrote like the scene that I did, and like the director I put was like one of my classmates.
Oh.
And like that was it. Oh my God, terrible. So you guys, these are not the do's of resumes. These are just nor are they the don'ts. They're just what we had to do in the beginning.
To have something
there. It's possible.
Yeah, because realistically, like when you have an agent or a manager and you're that green, no one's looking at your resume. They know you haven't worked. It's your agent, your manager picking up the phone and pitching you and getting you the audition.
Exactly. So don't let that paralyze you because you don't have a resume.
Yeah.
Is it one of the essential materials? Yeah, because you can't just like, you got to send something. I guess maybe, I don't know, these days, can they just send an email without a resume? I don't know. I would include it.
I would include it.
Yeah.
I would always include
Yeah,
the
with your...
Yeah.
Anyways, in the course, we include our current resumes versus our old resumes, and we leave prompts for you to, you know, pick your brain and see what you can write on them. And by the end of it, you have a resume. You know exactly what to do for a headshot session, and you even have a reel, which is super exciting. And we share a bunch of sides. And if you don't know what sides are, they are scenes and scripts that are auditions. And Jonetta and I have gone through and collected a plethora of sides
that we've had
and that we have at our fingertips of friends. So you guys can create a reel by doing one of these auditions, because these days a reel, you actually don't need professional footage. You can just have a tape.
Yeah, that's how I got my manager. He sent me CW Charmed.
Yes.
Reboot sides, which was currently casting. And he was like, here, this is probably what I would submit you for. Do this self-tape. And I was in acting class at the Ivana Chubbuck studio. So I had the coach of my like beginner class that I was in coach me and tape me and read with me. I had no one else that could do it. So yeah.
It's not that hard. And this is what the agents and managers gave to us. And so what we're telling you is, in your pitch emails, take out the hard work for the agents and managers, provide them. Here's what I want to be on, and here is a tape of me doing it.
Yeah.
That's literally how you get signed.
Like, okay, cool.
Yeah. But we created a, that section is like 25 pages. So we have an in-depth guide on like all of these things. And it's called the Actor's Guide.
Yeah, it's a lot of good stuff.
So for the first time ever, we're announcing that the Actor's Guide is available for purchase the entire season right now, today, and it's in the show notes. And also we have a little section on there where you can be mentored by Jonetta or I. And you also get the entire ebook that comes with that mentorship. So check out our website. It is in the show notes. We're so excited to teach you guys how to be in the position that we're in, and to hopefully, make this journey a little bit easier for you guys.
And also the first episode is free.
So Jonetta, tell us where everyone can find you on social media.
At Jonetta Kaiser. It's just my first and last name on everything. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram.
Cool. Anything that we should be keeping our eye out for you? So watch Peacock, Vampire Academy.
Vampire Academy. It got canceled, unfortunately, like everything today, but it's still a good show.
It's amazing. It's so good. When I watched those episodes with you, I was so excited.
So Vampire Academy, I'm also, I'll be hopefully filming a scary movie in September.
Yay.
If nothing gets delayed, but that'll be cool.
And then her other film that she is the lead in just came out.
Oh yeah, Tubi TV. Tubi.
Yeah. Oh, Tubi.
Yeah, it's on Tubi. A Party to Die For.
A Party to Die For. You look so good in it. I love the trailer. Is it out?
Yeah, it's out.
Okay, great.
It's out and it's free. You can go watch it.
Go on Tubi, A Party to Die For, and see Jonetta. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights.
Thank you. This was fun.